it is with very great pleasure that I present the 2008 Right Livelihood Award to Amy Goodman.
As we stand with journalists around the world who deeply believe that the mission of a journalist is to go to where the silence is, that the responsibility of a journalist is to give a voice to those who have been forgotten, forsaken, beaten down by the powerful. It's the best reason I know for us to pick up our pens, our microphones, and our cameras, both into our own communities and out to the wider world. The media can be, must be, a major force for peace. As we interview Palestinian children and Israeli grandmothers, Iraqi aunts and Afghani uncles, and children from Somalia to the South Bronx, the media can build bridges between communities, because you say, that sounds like my baby, it sounds like my grandma, that sounds like my aunt or my uncle, it sounds like family, even if we disagree. It sounds like someone I want to protect, who has a right to exist. The media can build bridges between communities, not advocate the bombing of bridges. I come from a community of independent media. I came out of Pacifica Radio. Together we founded Democracy Now! Pacifica, almost 60 years old, founded by a World War II war resistor named Lou Hill, who, when he came out of the detention camps for having resisted war, said there's got to be a media outlet that is not run by corporations that profit from war, but run by journalists and artists. And that's how Pacifica was born, the first station, KPFA, in Berkeley, California, in 1949. And then it grew to 5 stations in Los Angeles, in New York, in Washington, D.C., in Houston, Texas. The station in Houston, called KPFT, went on the air in 1970. No sooner had it gone on the air than the Ku Klux Klan blew it up. They strapped dynamite to the base of the transmitter. They understood its power. When KPFT got on the air again, the silver lining of this, of course, was it was a small station that couldn't afford advertising, and the KKK blew it into the consciousness of the people of Texas. When they got back on their feet and rebuilt that transmitter, they blew it up again. But they can't kill independent media. They can't kill people's desire across the political spectrum to be heard and the public's right to know. It is our responsibility to bring out the information that allows people to make the most important decisions of the day. Decisions about war and peace, life and death. What could be a more serious decision than a country deciding to go to war? Everyone must participate in that decision. Everyone should be heard. I see the media as a huge kitchen table that stretches across the globe, that we all sit around and debate and discuss these critical issues. And anything less than that is a disservice to the service men and women, the soldiers who are sent off to fight, because they can't have these debates on military bases. They rely on us and civilian society to make the decisions about whether they will kill or be killed. Anything less than that is a disservice to a democratic society. As the Right Livelihood Award for the first time honors journalists, I think about the journalists in Iraq and how dangerous it has been for them to report. That international community of brave truth seekers, like Javier Coso, the Spanish journalist who reported for Telecinco, or Taras Pratsiuk, the Ukrainian journalist who was filming for Reuters. It was April 8th, 2003, a few weeks into the invasion of Iraq. They were on the balconies of their hotel, the Palestine Hotel, where hundreds of unembedded reporters were. Those are reporters not embedded in the front lines of troops, but there because they want to ensure that we get a picture from the target end, not the reporters who go into the tanks and ask the pilot or the plane, ask the pilot or the tank driver, what happens? What does it feel like to press those buttons? But to be there embedded in Iraqi communities or hospitals, to know what it feels like to be at the target end. There was Javier, there was Taras, there are cameras on the balconies when a US tank picked up its sights and opened fire on the Palestine Hotel, killing both of these brave journalists. It wasn't a few hours after Taras Pratsiuk, who was reporting for Al Jazeera, a young reporter who just come over the border from Jordan, had gone to the roof of the Al Jazeera offices simply to fix the camera angle. And when the US military strafed the offices of Al Jazeera, he was killed. His wife, Dima Taboub, cried at his funeral. Hate breeds hate. The US says they're involved in fighting terror. Who's involved in terror today? September 11, 2001 was a horrific moment. 3,000 people incinerated in an instant. We'll never actually know how many people died on that day, because those who go uncounted in life go uncounted in death, and they are the undocumented immigrants who worked at the World Trade Center. And we should know their names, we should know their stories, because that's what dignifies a life. It is very important that the media sets the record straight, tells the stories of those who are responsible for death and those who are fighting for life, and gives a forum to those voices that I really think represent the majority of people, not only in America, but around the world. Because those who are opposed to torture, those who are opposed to war, are not a fringe minority, not even a silent majority, but the silenced majority, silenced by the corporate media, which is why we have to take it back. How tired are we of that small circle of pundits we see on all of the networks who know so little about so much, explaining the world to us and getting it so wrong? We have to provide a forum for people to speak for themselves, tell their own experiences. In this time of global warring and global warming and the global economic meltdown, we have to bring on the creative thinkers, the true experts, the people at the grassroots who know about solutions in their own communities and bring them to a greater world, as Krishna Amma does, as, of course, Asha does, as Monica does, and so many human rights defenders around the world. Where are their voices? Not occasionally, when they win such a grand award as this, but on a regular basis. These are the people should be on the front pages of the newspapers, the headliners in every newscast in the world, and we will know peace someday. Instead, we have a 9-second soundbite culture. What can be said in that amount of time? We have to break the sound barrier. The media are the most powerful institutions on earth, more powerful than any bomb, more powerful than any missile. In our country, in America, the Pentagon's deployed the media, and we have to take it back. It's not good for the generals. It's not good for the low-level soldiers. It's not good for a civilian society. We will not be silent. Democracy Now!